Hey guys, I just watched Blade Runner 2049. I went to a 10:30 IMAX showing. It's now about 2 a.m., so I apologize if this is a little bit rambly, but let's get right to it. What did I think of the film? I thought it was really good. It was beautiful, as all of Denis Villeneuve's films are. All of the performances are awesome, especially when you're doing humans and replicants, and you can definitely see the nuances in their expressions when they're trying to deal with identity and all that stuff. The story is very simple. It's a lot simpler than I expected, but it also has far-reaching implications, which I thought was very cool. I thought it was a very well put together film. It was definitely very slow at times, and that might be an issue for some viewers. And to be honest, at some points I felt a little bit tired. Close to 3 hour film, and this director really takes his time with these shots, and they are so gorgeous. Literally, you could just take a frame out of any scene in this whole movie and just frame it up, and it could be a beautiful painting. He is so good at just composing these scenes. All of the set design is awesome. The coloring is just super good. Visually, it's stunning. What was I saying? I'm rambling, aren't I? The pacing. So we'll see a scene and he just really draws it in. I think there are not enough films like this with the director so confident in his visual storytelling that he'll let you just kind of really soak in the world. He knows what he puts on screen is interesting enough to hold your attention. He doesn't need to cut. He doesn't need to have fancy dialogue. And even the soundtrack is not that complicated. It just has this reoccurring motif, that big saxophone brass kind of brrr sound. And that's enough over and over again. You're just getting washed in this audio-visual experience, and it's awesome. And I haven't even really talked about the story. So basically the story is we're introduced to Ryan Gosling, and he's the main character. We know his identity of human and replicant. I won't really give it away. Things start mudding as he's kind of offing these replicants. There's kind of a big conspiracy. There's somebody he needs to find, and that's essentially the story. He's going on this quest to find somebody special, and that's it. Again, like I said before, the core of the story is very simple, but it gets very complicated, and there's a lot of factions. One thing that I would say about the film is it does help to have seen the previous film. I know my friend who hadn't seen it or really read about it was pretty confused, and even though I think a new viewer could definitely follow this film, Denis Villeneuve doesn't really like explaining things. There's definitely enough explanation for most people, but it's still easy to get confused, especially since the definition of replicants and what humans are, they're so close. So it's just hard to, I imagine it would be hard to kind of decipher the difference if you're a new viewer coming in. But again, I think you can totally enjoy this as a new viewer. It just definitely would help to have that backstory, and then you could really focus on what's happening at the moment. All of the characters were super interesting, and one of my favorite characters was actually so the main company, the main new company is owned by the character played by Jared Leto, and he has this assistant that's the main baddie. She's this chick who just does all of his dirty work. She kills, and she's ruthless, and she's awesome, but while she's doing all this stuff, her face is just telling a completely different story. Sometimes it's completely stoic. Sometimes while she's doing something, she's just dropping tears. So all of her physical movements, her actions are that of the main bad person, but her emotions, her face, tell a completely different story. And I thought that was one of the best performances of the film. Ryan Gosling is also very good. He's the best at just kind of holding that neutral expression, but then having the layers underneath his facial expressions. And you can definitely see him trying to figure stuff out about the world, about himself, and it's super engaging. Robin Wright is awesome. Harrison Ford gives one of the best performances I've ever seen. And when I say best, I mean he's actually trying. He's sweating, he's fighting, and we don't get to see him for as much as we want. It's never enough, but we see him, and it's awesome. That's, I think his performance is worth the price of admission alone. Harrison Ford trying. When's the last time you saw him trying? This film doesn't really kind of redefine the genre. It's not as genre bending as the original Blade Runner. I don't think any movie could really replace that or do that, but it's definitely an awesome entry into the sci-fi world. It's one of the most beautiful modern movies ever made, and I think I'll probably be saying that for all of Denis Villeneuve's subsequent films because they seriously just keep getting better looking. The only negative, again, would maybe be the pacing for some people. It is close to 3 hours, so I would just kind of have the mental endurance ready. But if you're a fan of sci-fi, if you're a fan of the original, if you just want to see really good visual filmmaking, you should definitely check this film out. I give this a solid A. Go check it out. It's very good. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have you seen it? What did you think? How does it compare to the original? Thank you again, and I'll see you guys next time.